Hey guys, so welcome to another episode of the High Ticket Coaching and Consultant Strategy and Growth Show. Now, in case you're watching this interview anywhere else but within our private community called High Ticket Client Attraction Insider Circle, our private Facebook group, be sure to come join us. We just surpassed 6,000 members in that community. So if you're a coach, consultant, service provider, and you haven't been in it or you're not in there yet, be sure to click on the link and be sure to come join us, okay? Now, with that being said, today's guest is Cheryl. Cheryl, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here, and
Awesome.
congratulations on passing the 6,000 mark. That's cool.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. I really don't pay attention to the numbers, but someone sent me a message on Facebook saying, hey, your group's at 6,000. I was like, what? Like, cool. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah. So tell us, Cheryl, what do you do?
Well, I am a master board certified coach, and I help coaches and consultants start their businesses, get clients, market, all that jazz. And then I'm also a mentor coach. So I help coaches get their credentials through the ICF.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Now, I guess, what's your backstory? How did you get started with this?
So it's kind of a long story, so I'll make it short. But I come from a corporate background, and I had a medical problem. I got sick, and it took me about 2 years to be able to get better. And I realized after that 2 years, like losing all my savings, my medical, getting nothing from corporate for being, having to kind of go out sick. But anyway, so I decided I wasn't going to go back into the corporate world, and I started doing some volunteering around like web design and graphics and things like that. And I met up with Recovery Nation, which is a not-for-profit recovery site with lessons and stuff. And anyway, I started helping them with their website and got to know the owner. And then we kind of started collaborating and did a whole bunch of different things. And all of a sudden he died from a massive heart attack, and like nobody knew like the insides of the company or how it worked or anything really except for me. So his family asked me to take it over. And when I took it over, I realized, he was a psychologist and a coach and a psychiatrist. Like he was everything. He did all these things. And so he had programs where, I couldn't, of course, do any of the psychiatrist or the psychology stuff, but he had a coaching stream in there. So when I went to open back up the coaching to the group, I realized I needed to get certified because I didn't really, I had a coaching background as far as like coaching employees, but not really, I wasn't really comfortable with the type of coaching that was being done. So long story short, I went and found WCI, which is where I got certified. Loved it from the first minute I talked to the director, and just took off from there. And I actually still teach, and I'm the training director there as well as my own business, just because I love to help coaches get, learn how to do the coaching process and to get started in their businesses.
Yeah, a pretty cool backstory, I guess you could say. So do you still run that business as well too?
Yes, I have the not-for-profit Recovery Nation, and it's a health-based recovery versus like a STEP program. So it's has like 11,000 members, so it's a pretty big group.
Yeah, and is it mostly virtual?
Oh yeah, it's all virtual. It's in fact, you can do a free version. Just go in and download the lessons. There's lessons for the addiction side, and there's lessons for the family side, like partners or what have you. So it's a pretty big, comprehensive program.
Awesome. So, and in essence, so in terms of your, as far as helping coaches and consultants, tell us about that side of things now.
Yeah, so my business is Successful Coaches Enterprise. And when I first started out, I of course, I started with the recovery, but then I moved over to coaches and consultants. And I felt like in the beginning, I was so, confused about what to do for my business. Like there's a ton of stuff out there. You listen to, not then, it wasn't podcast, but you listen to webinar after webinar, and, you download content, and just like all this stuff comes at you. And you're like, where do I start? So I felt really confused for the first 2 to 3 years, really, of getting my business started. And I thought, there has got to be an easier way to do this. And I saw the dropout rate, right? Like it's 80% of coaches don't start a business. Now, some of that, they're not really starting a business. They're going to coaching school to use it with their job or whatever. But a good percentage of that, they drop off, either they don't start or they drop off in the first 2 years. So I thought, with these stats and the confusion I went through, there's got to be an easier way. And so I came up with my process. It's the Master Your Coaching Biz 6 pillars. And I walked myself through that system based off of everything I learned and everything I've heard out there. And I just I'm going to use this word, I just kind of dumbed it down to a 5th grade level. And I said, I can do this if I follow this easy system. And so that's what I did. And it worked. And then I started helping other coaches do it, and it worked. And I said, you know what, I got something here. So I started that. And then also I kind of took a step back and I said, you know what, we have to go here for a VA. We have to go here for marketing. We have to go here for, website. We have to go like all these different places. And I said, you know what, I want one central place where somebody can come as a coach and say, I just got out of school. I want to start my business. Let's go. And so Successful Coaches Enterprise does that. We have a marketing branch. We have a website branch. We have, obviously the coaching. We also have a wellness piece. Like we have, it's not quite 100% yet, but it will be within the next year. But we have a whole system where somebody can come in and say, you know what, I want to start my business, or I want to scale my business, and I don't have these pieces. And they can get everything from us. And I think it just, makes it easier. And we build relationships all the way around, not just in the coaching side.
Yeah, pretty cool. So you ultimately kind of like a full service where someone comes in, they leave coaching school, they got certified, and like, what's next? And then once they run into you and your company, you guys basically help them figure out everything they need to do to get up to the next level.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So that's we just added the marketing piece this year. So I have my my mind map up here. We only have one more piece to add, and then we'll be a full service.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Are you a pretty visual person as well too?
Yeah, I don't know if you can see like my walls. I have my quotes up there. I have my mind map here. I have my vision board over here, and then I also have a monthly, like, it's not a cork board, but it's I forget what you call them, like a dry erase board.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
With vision boards, how long have you been using those?
Oh, probably 10 years.
Mm-hmm. What's your experience with them?
Well, I mean, I like vision board. I teach vision boarding. But I think with that said, it's a very personal thing. Like, I think it's your own motivation, things that spark you, that light you up. That's what's going to be best on your vision board. So really the vision board work I do is like helping people really figure out what you want. Like, what lights you up? What things make you excited? What pieces do you want to put into this puzzle of your life or your business? So that's basically my experience with it. I only do that once a year at the beginning of the year for visioning, but otherwise, one-on-one clients, we work through their visions, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And I know you got a summit coming up, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us about that summit.
Yeah. So it's the 21 plus experts to help you master your coaching biz. And again, based on those numbers that I talked about, like 80% of coaches either, dropping off or not even starting their businesses, I wanted to get a bunch of experts together and say, hey, what can you offer up to new or scaling coaches to really get their business successful, get clients in, get more organized, what have you. And so we're running that June 8th through, hang on. I think it's June 8th through the 17th. And I'm privileged that you will be a guest on that as well. So I'm looking forward to the summit. It's a 10-day summit. And again, it's free. Obviously, you can come in. It doesn't matter, what your situation is in these times, especially. But we just want to help people to grow their business, their coaching business.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So in essence, with your, what have you found as far as with your own business as well, so just helping clients, do you help individuals attract clients, paying clients as well in your business? What methods do you teach? What's your process?
Well, so we look at the niche, or niche, whatever you call it. We look at their target audience and we say, hey, what are kind of standard stuff? What are the pain points of your target audience. What are they going through right now? What are their goals, their aspirations? We look at kind of the demographics, but also the psychographics. And we say, okay, let's get really detailed into this. And then we say, okay, second step, where do they hang out? So now we know their pain points, their aspirations, their goals, values. Where are they hanging out to either to, what do you call it, to get together, like to socialize? Where are they hanging out to improve their work or their skills? Or like we look at the different areas where people go to just be who they are, business and personal side. And then we say, okay, let's put together a plan on how we're going to reach out. And we use different strategies. Kind of the main one is like the raise your hand strategy, get people really interested in what you can offer and raise your hand for, a consult or an example discovery session or an example coaching session, just to get out there and get visible. And then the visibility piece is really important. Just looking at how are you getting visible? What channels are you using? What's, social media, networking, speaking. And we've just put together a really comprehensive plan. And we say, okay, we're going to try this we do it in 2-week sprints. Here's a 2-week sprint for the beginning of the month. Go out, do these activities, come back. Let's see what happened, and then work towards bettering what worked well and replacing those things that didn't work. So it's trial and error. And I feel like that's kind of a basic thing that people overlook sometimes. Like, we want to come out and go strong and get clients right away. And we kind of, we buy into some of the rhetoric out there and like, 3 months later, we're like, well, we still don't have any clients, or we still don't have regular clients or a regular way to generate clients or prospects. So that's what we look at, is doing like the generating of the prospects and the channels and getting out there and visible. And then the rest will come, and we'll switch strategies as we grow, or as we see what's working and not working.
Yeah. Okay. And as in growing a business, I guess a coach and a consultant business, what do you believe is the most important? If there was one thing that trumps everything else, what do you think is that most important one, where if anyone gets into this, they better focus on this or else, right? Is there any
Relationships?
Relationships?
You're not going to get anywhere as a coach or a consultant unless you have relationships, because you continually nurture them. And that's the getting visible part, right? Getting out there, getting people to see who you are, what you do, your beliefs. You have to get personal, and you don't have to get like too personal, but you do have to get personal. People have to see who you are. And and it's funny, I just had a new coach sign on, and I went to friend her on Facebook, and she didn't accept my friend request. And the next time I talked to her, I said, hey, I sent you a friend request on Facebook, and you didn't accept it. And she said, oh yeah, I don't want to have, like, I don't want to mix friends with business. And, but it's real. Like, I kind of laughed, but then I'm like, you know what, this is real. It's a real problem. People don't see it. And I just kind of walked through the process. Like, how are people going to get to know you if they can't see your profile, or if they can't, if they can't see who you are, they can't see your posts, they can't see, your family life. Like, you don't have to put pictures of your kids up there, but hey, you could talk about your kids, right? Where's the balance? Like, we have to create balance, but definitely building relationships, getting people to know who you are, and opening up, because there's too many people out there doing that if you're not going to do it, it's gonna be a problem in your business.
Yeah. And it's always fascinating too, because and that's one thing I realize with most coaches and consultants, especially I realize the newer ones as well too. An issue is it's like they treat it like a business, right? So there's one thing where you're like, okay, I'm going to do this to help. You start off with, like most individuals who do get into it, start off helping family members, friends, these different types of people with it. But then when they say, okay, I want to build a business out of it, then they go straight into, well, it's just business. I got to create my business, and I get on like this corporate type of, well, I'm not going to talk to people on unless they go to my business page, and I'm going to send people there, and this is where they buy, and all of these different things. And it's so fascinating. But I watch where when you get to realizing that what we really do, if you want to build a business online, the bulk of your clients are going to come from social media. And social media is one of those things where it's social. People want to know you. And I even think about myself when I consume, who I pay attention to, who I listen to. It's typically someone that they reveal who they really are versus this business entity, right? It's like the personal is really what sells.
Yep.
So that's a pretty big one right there.
Yeah, I agree. And it's a thing I talk about a lot, is just getting out there, getting visible and telling people, letting people see who you are.
Yeah.
Because it can be, if you just have this business persona, it's, again, it's social media, right? Even speaking, when you're speaking, of course, when we're able to, but speaking out there and bringing it online,
Hmm.
people want to know who you are, right? They're not going to come see you speak if you're just kind of like, talking through a process and not showing who you are, showing your personality. And
Yeah.
for coaches, especially, right? I mean, as coaches, you know, we're not all kind of extroverts, but we all have to have a part of us be an extrovert. You can
Yeah.
be an introvert and be an online coach, but you need to have some of that extrovert in there. Otherwise, again, like you're going to be having anxiety every time you have to go online, or, let somebody know something about yourself. So it's a process. People have to work towards it, but definitely, getting out there and getting known.
Yeah. Oh man, I was just having some of my water here, and I interviewed a guest. She's from Mexico, right? And it's so funny because she's like, "I have the same exact glass." I was like, "No, you don't." And she's like, "Yeah, I do." And then after we got done with the interview, she sent me a picture on Facebook, and she showed me these same exact glasses. Like, whoa, that's crazy.
There you go, right? Like simple things like that. It's
Mhm.
and one of the strategies we talk about is reaching out through Facebook too, right? Like every day, reach out to, 1 to 5 people that you're
Yeah,
friends with or that you want to be friends with.
yeah,
Don't just do a friend request, right? Do a message, say, hey, this is so and so, I like this, or I
mhm,
saw this, and whatever. Just get a conversation going. And that's a perfect example.
yeah.
Hey, like you're on there and I have that same class. I love that.
Yep. And that's so powerful too. So I definitely agree with what you just said here in terms of a relationship. That's the key. And that's even one of the reasons why I wanted to start this show as well too, because I started realizing in my business I got to a certain plateau, right? So when you've gone through, you've mastered all the technology, you've mastered the ads, you've mastered every single thing, and then you're like, well, things still aren't moving as fast as I want them to. What's happening here? And I think the saying that goes, if you want to, the quickest way to succeed in life and business is to really surround yourself with better people. And I
Mhm.
have all the techniques, all of the things, the funnels, everything I've ever mastered, relationships, being able to get to a place. And I think if every coach, consultant, anyone listen to this, they could get to a place where they're constantly just figuring out a way to meet new people. That's going to just change the game for them. Just like I've been doing the show for like about a week and a half. I've right now, but again, I take it to the extreme, right? So I've already like interviewed like almost 54. I think you're the 54th person that I've interviewed in like a week and a half. But what
Wow.
that goes to show you is that I'm getting to know people on like a massive scale, and out of those 54 people, I've already met people I'm gonna we're gonna do partnerships. We're gonna do all these
Mhm.
different things with, and those opportunities when I was just home, it was just me. Those were like impossible. When I thought about I want to do this thing here, it would have been impossible for me to ever have done it just from my limited thinking and my resources, whatever. But as I got into doing more networking, that's when I realized, like, holy goodness, like this thing I wanted to do is like it almost happens like effortlessly. I don't even have to try now because here's
Right.
this person, they have a similar vision, and we could collaborate on this thing and da da da. So that's where I believe there's so much power in there.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely agree with that. Partnership, referrals, collaborating, that's all a part of it, right? I mean, we're in this to help people, but we also have to have a thriving business. I
yeah,
always talk about the oxygen mask. Make sure you put your oxygen mask on first before you do anybody else's oxygen mask. And
hmm,
having a thriving business is one of those. And like you said, getting out there, collaborating with people, it's the fun part. Collaborating, getting to know people, that's the fun part. The business side, yeah, we have to do that, but this part is the fun part, and it automatically opens us up for other opportunities. I
yeah,
totally
yeah. Yeah, so I would say that just get the relationships going, but then always take the next step, because I know a big part about most people, they meet a lot of people, but they don't figure out, okay, what can we do and explore that potential. They're just out meeting people. But I think if you balance the two, meet people and then explore potential in terms of what can you guys do together, magic happens there.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
next question now becomes, in terms of where you are right now in your business, in your life, what's that one, are there any stories that's kind of got you to be say, hey, this is who I am and this is what I'm about? Do you have any stories from something that maybe happened in the past that kind of got you to where
Um,
you're today?
I mean, I think that as I started teaching, I became an instructor about 2 years after I started coaching. And I kind of, so besides my own kind of frustrations with starting my own business, I saw like how other coaches would be like really defeated kind of after training. Like they felt like they didn't know where their place was. They didn't know, it was the self-confidence piece. Like they didn't really think they could do it. Like after the training, they're like, okay, I have the certification, but I don't feel like I can, just start a business, or I don't feel like I'm good enough, or, that kind of, where we believe what other people are telling us as well. Like people say, go back to a job, go to corporate. Like, who are you to start your own business? Like that type of thing. We start to believe it. And it's a really big obstacle and problem, especially when you don't have family support, which a lot of people don't that start their own businesses. So I noticed that pretty early on.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of changed the way that I viewed starting businesses, period, but also how I was going to help people, because there's the business side of it, but there's also that uplifting community, helping people to realize you can do it. And so I became a little bit more of a cheerleader. I feel like I was always a cheerleader, but I became a little bit more of a cheerleader as well. Just trying to build people up, because, what are we doing in this world if we're not helping each other out and building up each other? And so that's a big part of like my group, my Facebook group. We all are very encouraging to each other. We're all very supportive to each other. So, I don't, kind of my goal is to reach 1 million people, right? But really it's how I touch other people and how many people they touch. That's what's going to get me to that 1 million people. And that happens by encouraging, creating community, building each other up, and really not looking at the competition side, because I see a lot of people are very competitive out there. I don't think that works well. And I think it just puts us, again, it kind of puts us down, and we go, oh, look at this one's doing, or, oh, look at what she's doing, or look at what he's doing. Why can't I do that? No. What is it that you can do? Let's find out what you can do. And let's, encourage each other to be better, to do better, and to feel like, yes, you can do this. You might have to do it differently, but you can do it just as much as, Jane can do it or John can do it. And so I think that was a pivotal moment where I felt like, yes, I can give the business experience, but more so I can help people really gain some confidence and figure out what's right for them, and not look around and say, okay, it's right for that person, so it must be right for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically what kind of made that change, that helped me kind of pivot a little bit more in my business.
Yeah, awesome. And next one is skills. What skill would you say, what's that one skill you say you developed over the years that's really, it's been pivotal on your journey?
Wow. Like, there's a lot of skills in your coaching, but I think that the one skill would probably be my emotional intelligence, which is a bunch of skills, but I'm big into emotional intelligence. I'm certified to give the EIQ assessment. And I feel like once I did it for myself, again, I was hooked. Like I took my own assessment, and I saw the different areas that I needed improvement on. And I saw the areas that I was strong in and how to balance it all out. And I felt, you know what, let me do this, right? So I worked on those areas, and it up-leveled all my skills, like all around. I can communicate better with people. I can, I was a pretty empathetic or sympathetic person to begin with, but now I can help others kind of see what is in their way emotionally, how to self-manage emotions, things along those lines. I think that that's just the whole emotional intelligence as a skill is very important in coaching or consulting, like any area that you're going to be working with people one-on-one. Or in groups. And I think that can supercharge any skill that you're looking to increase, because it's a method, right? It's step by step. Here's how you increase this part of your emotional intelligence. Here's how you work through this part. Here's how you balance it with this. And so it becomes very kind of methodical, really. And I think that that's probably the skill, just learning that emotional intelligence and how to process it and help others process it really was pivotal.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And final one is habits wise. Are there any specific habits you've developed or you think should be developed for someone to really be able to take their life there, whatever they're trying to do, to the next level?
Yeah, definitely routine. Having a routine is very important. I have several things that I use. I have my kind of vision journal where I look at, kind of the year overall. I have my individual planner.
Hmm.
And every morning I kind of look through them. I have a morning routine. I also have a brain dump notebook. So before bed, I just, kind of brain dump everything that's in my head so it doesn't disturb my sleep, because I used to stay up a lot at night, like wondering how I was going to do things with my business. Like, that's not a lie. When you see that up there, what keeps you up at night? We stay up at night wondering what we're going to do, how
Hmm.
we're going to do things. So brain dumping was a way that I was able to do that. Sleep better, get through the night better, not worrying about everything. But definitely the routine. So I have, a specific morning routine that I use my planners with. I read at night and I brain dump at night, and then I journal at night. So whether it's morning or night, it doesn't matter. But having a routine that you can wake up and say, this is what I do. Like, I check my email before I even get out of bed. I'm on my tablet checking my email. I look at my day. Then I get up, get ready. Then I come in and I do my planners. So just having a specific routine and even scheduling it out if you need to. I think that's the habit that you have to get into, is having a routine, kind of a habit of having a habit.
Yeah. Love it. I love it. And something I noticed for myself as well, because routines are awesome. I really love them. I think that's really the key to getting the next steps, the next level in your business. But I know for me, an issue with habits or routines has always been like, there comes a point when, especially when you like want to upgrade, you got to figure out how do you break that current routine and do a whole different one, which is kind of one of the things I have to keep relearning over and over again, because my whole thing is like, okay, there's this result that I want there's this thing I want to do, but I know that the reason I don't have this is because either I don't have the habits, beliefs, these different things. And then I say, okay, let me go to work on developing these things within myself, the habits, the beliefs, the mindset, all these different things, so that could happen. And then when I hit that thing, it's like the routines, they just stop working, because now it's like, okay, there has to be something else, right? There has to be a next thing. So being able
Yeah.
to see one routine, have it get you so far, then keep upgrading and upgrading and upgrading. Because I know that was the biggest, I think, challenge for me. Because when I first started my business, I really thought that I would get that one routine that would help me arrive. And when I chased that, I realized every time I got it and I get stuck, I also got stuck. Nothing moved. It was like almost like it got me so far, but it just stopped working. It's like, and I couldn't understand, versus now realizing that, okay, I got to keep upgrading these routines. Just some pretty powerful stuff. So I guess, Cheryl, if someone wanted to reach out to you, what is the best way for them to connect?
Well, any of the social medias, I'm at Cheryl Thacker or Coach Cheryl Thacker, whichever one. And then the website is successfulcoaches.com. Facebook, basically, you can message me, LinkedIn or Instagram, either of those three.
Mm-hmm. There you go, guys. So all the links she just mentioned here, I'll have them right below this video. So you can click on them. You can reach directly out to her. Awesome, Cheryl. Well, hey, thank you so much for stopping by. It's been a pleasure. Do you have any final thoughts before we end?
No, well, thank you for having me. I enjoyed it. I think the final thought is just another thing is kind of structured action, which I talk about a lot, is just do it, right? I mean, there's going to be fear. It's not going to be perfect. Don't be a perfectionist. Just do it and see what happens and adjust for the next time. So take that action.
Love it. Thank you so much for sharing. Well, again, thank you, and we will be in touch.
Thank you.